Your best performing content is likely sitting in the platforms that you've posted them doing absolutely nothing. So you're missing out on so much, being able to see your best posts easily, reuse them. As I showed yesterday, being able to have one click and you could easily repurpose, refresh it and turn it into your next hook and post it again, meaning that you can create a lot less content from scratch. I'm Jenny Stevens, and this is video 6 out of 7 in my AI content operating system series, where I'm showing you behind the scenes my content system that I have built myself and I build for my clients to help service providers save over 5 hours a week on their content process so that they can actually focus on the things that they love to do and they do best and not be a full-time content creator. And today's video, I'm going to be showing you the performance view, so how you can actually track how well your social posts, your emails, whatever platforms that you're using, how well they're performing, how you can easily find the best performers, easily filter so that you can see what's working, put more into that, and then put it straight back into your content pipeline. So make sure that you like and subscribe so you get the rest of the video in this series and future videos that will be coming. So there's lots of juicy stuff coming, and feel free to ask any questions as we go through this video. So first off, let's just talk a bit about why should we be tracking anyway, right? I want you to know and put in the comments, do you currently track your social media posts or emails? Let me know below, because what I used to do, I've always tracked my emails. Emails was like the first thing that I just fell in love with when it came to more systemized marketing and kind of more automated stuff. And so I've always tracked every single email. But when it came to the social media side of things, I would just track kind of the overall like monthly view of, you know, the reach, link clicks, etc. for the whole platform. I never actually went individually into social media. I don't really know why, but that was until recent. And I realized that was a huge kind of faux pas from myself, because I'm a massive numbers geek. I love tracking numbers because of what it gives you, which I'll talk about in a second. But then I realized that I was just looking at stuff in my Instagram app or whatever it was, and I was never really able to kind of easily go back and see actually what was performing and sort of delve into it a bit more and then actually do something with it. And so the reason for tracking really is it gives you visibility, right? Being able to see your numbers and track the things that are important for you and your business, it gives you visibility to be able to then make decisions faster. So you can see actually what's working. Okay, that's great. Let's do more of that. You can see this flopped or this isn't working. Why not? So it might help you to see, actually, we need to focus a bit of time on maybe understanding our audience a bit more, or maybe testing out some different hooks or subject lines, right? So it helps you to make decisions to know where do we need to focus, because if you're getting like lots of visibility, maybe you're getting lots of reach, but no one's commenting or no one's clicking your links, or people are opening your emails but they're not clicking, or they're opening, they're clicking but they're not buying. You can also see where in your process or in your funnel is actually the issue. So you know, okay, well, we don't need to sort of change anything over here, but this is where we need to pay attention to. So it really just helps take the guesswork out of it. And also, if you're anything like me, you can let your emotions get in the way. You're like, oh man, I put so much effort into this reel and it got hardly any reach, and you can feel really defeated, or you really thought that email was gonna be the one that was gonna get you some sales and it hasn't. You can get in your head, right? So actually, by going by data and facts, it helps take away that emotion, because you're just going by facts, right? So that's kind of my big thing about why do we need to track? And so many people don't. And I'm always like, dude, you need to track. It may not be the most exciting thing to do, but it doesn't take very long. What you can get from it is massive. Okay, so let's talk about what do you track? Now, obviously, this is going to depend a bit on what platforms you're using and what your main goal is. So with the AI content operating system, how this is set up is so you've got a couple of different things. So first off, we want to make sure that we've got a really nice, easy way to be able to get your metrics in. So inside of my system and the ones that I build, people always recommend kind of splitting out because there's going to be different metrics. Now you could have this just in one view. So you could have email, and then let's just say you focusing on Instagram. You can then have those just in one view. I personally split them out, but again, you do what's right for you. So we've got an email view so we can see what the subject line is, when it was sent, and then we can just add in the data from your email autoresponder. So it's just bosh, 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 done. And then once I've added in the metrics, then I can say this is now done and it's now going to filter out. So it can be a really nice, quick, simple thing that either you or, it could be a VA or somebody just goes in and just adds those metrics in. And so in this view, I've just got what you need to be able to populate it. But then in other views, you can then see the whole picture. Then we've got the same for Instagram metrics. So again, you've got all the kind of core things there. But the thing that's really important when knowing like what to track, you could track every little tiny thing that you want, but we don't want to just track stuff for the sake of it. Vanity metrics, they give you so much of the picture, but not everything. So it's really important to think about matching, having the metrics that match the intention for the post, the goal of the post. So for example, if you're doing, let's just use Instagram as the example. So if you're wanting to grow your audience, you might really need to be focusing on maybe trial reels so you can actually get them seen by new people that aren't your followers. And I've been doing a lot of this recently myself, where I've been testing out a lot of hooks and different kind of phrasing and seeing what resonates with people. So when I'm doing trial reels, I want to know, okay, are people, obviously got the views and the reach, are people like interacting with it? A lot of saves and shares helps to this is resonating. But then also I want to see, are people following me from that post to know, am I actually attracting the right people? Whereas if you're doing kind of more grid posts that are meant for your existing audience, then you don't necessarily care so much about followers, but you might care more about, are people commenting? Is it a lead generating post that you're asking like to drop a comment and then you'll send them your lead magnet, in which case you really want to see how are comments, leads going to be, how are they doing? Obviously, if you're doing more sales focused stuff, then you want to see the sales. And then down below, then we've kind of got the percentages that can populate based on what you've entered in. So you can see then the engagement rate, lead conversions, etc. So when you're thinking about tracking, first off, you don't need to track individual posts for everything that you're doing across all platforms because that's just overkill. But focus on the main platforms that you're building your audience, you're connecting with them, and obviously making sales. So for me personally, I focus on email and Instagram. I do post on Threads as well a bit, and I do things on Pinterest, and I do the odd bit, a lot of my Instagram stuff goes on Facebook, but those aren't my core things that I'm spending most of my time. So I don't need to track the individual ones there. I just track then kind of over the month how the whole platform is performed. Then again, you'll want to see, and with kind of how I set things up, you'll be able to take everything that I've learned. Like I've added in a few little things recently, like this followers from post, and I've added a little trial reels tick just so I can say this is a trial reel. So whatever's kind of fits you and your process and how you do things and the metrics that you care about. Like if you don't care about seeing comments, saves and shares, that's great. You could just have the total interactions. If there's other things that you want to see, you can do that. Now I say I'm a massive numbers geek, so you're probably going to have the majority of what you need. But if you want to see like a certain metric be a bit more visible for you, then we can do that too. So you'll have knowing what metrics you actually want to track and see, having this kind of view that you can simply just add them in. And then when it comes to kind of looking, now you've got it all in, you've got the data there, then you can have more of a dashboard view, something like this, where you can actually then see how are things performing, okay? So this is an example of a dashboard that I built for myself and I built for a client. So this is kind of split into social media. This picks up Instagram. Again, you can change whatever platform you do with a click of a button. And we've also got, we can see the data in different time frames. So we can just be focusing on this month, last 28 days, the last 90 days, the current year, and all of this can be customized. So then we're picking out, okay, what's the average shares? What's the average saves? What's the average follows from posts? So if you're in that kind of growth mode, you want to be able to see like, how are my posts and my content actually resonating with people? So by having more of these three things shows you and tells you the picture that this is resonating, or it's not, and you've got to do some work. You can then see what's your average engagement rate. Then you can actually like have a view where you can see the top post. So this is top engaged posts, so from your engagement rate, and it's sorted by the engagement rate, right? Top to bottom. So you can see this one did really well. This was for this call to action. And you can also then see the lead conversion or sales or both or whatever you want to see. Then I've got a little section for the best lead generating post. So again, you can see what things work at different parts of that, you know, that marketing funnel of kind of awareness building, lead generating, sales driven, you know, it all is one part of one bigger marketing system. Then you can kind of see like how many posts are there by platform if you want to. And then we've got emails. So again, you can see how many emails have been sent. What's the average open rate? What's the average click-through rate? Sales, what's the average open to sales conversion? Then you can kind of have a nice little line chart for your numbers. Obviously this is just my demo one, which doesn't have metrics in there right now. Then again, you've got the same thing: best emails by sales, best emails by click-through rate, best subject line. So you can literally kind of choose what things matter to you in your business. What things do you want to see, and how do you want to see it? Do you want to see things in a pie chart? Do you want to see things in a line chart? You know, it's up to you. Then, so obviously this is kind of the more pretty side. Then on the back end, again, if you want to see things in a different way, so a bit like I showed in yesterday's video where I showed about sorting your content to then be able to go, I'm going to do this for a new launch or relaunch the same program. So this then enables you kind of in this view, you can then easily either come to like all content where everything lives, and then you can see all of your content, or again, we can have views for your metrics. So if you want to be able to just add in your metrics here, we're only seeing the columns with the metrics, and then the sort of core other things like the platform, the status, and the offer, for example. But everything else is hidden that you don't necessarily need to see when you're just looking at metrics. So you can either add in the metrics like this, or you might want to go, okay, let me now look at what's my top emails. So again, you can do sorting, you can filter all from here in this kind of more spreadsheet view as well. And this is what I do when especially if I'm looking for performing posts for a launch, or just to kind of see, okay, what's done really well. And then again, you've got the same for social media. So again, we've got little icons to kind of show like what's what. And again, you can choose what you see. So when you're kind of seeing posts that have done really well, you can then repost it either as it is. You can do my process that I showed in the previous video in day 5, where I showed my one-click repurposing. You can say, do you know what? Let's take this email and it's done really well. Let's turn it into a carousel, or let's turn it into a Facebook post, or whatever you want to do. And you can use my one-click repurposer that can kind of do it for you. Or perhaps something's kind of okay but not brilliant, and you might go, okay, so maybe let's try a different hook, let's try a bit more specific language, or let's try a different clip behind it. You know, posts that do really well, you can do the same thing for it. Like, actually, we can just freshen it up by putting a different clip behind it, or whatever. So there's lots of ways that you can reuse and repurpose your content. But when you're coming from a place of actually seeing from the data what's working and what's not, you then can do something about it, whether it's reusing the best ones, so you actually haven't got to create so much new, or you know that you've got things are all right, but you want to just make it better, tweak it up, change it up, try it out. And so this is something that, say, as I mentioned, this is things that I have been doing more recently. So I've been taking a hook, ones that have been working really, really well. I've then tested it. So for example, with my kind of campaign for this content system, I've took some really good hooks that worked really well, kind of for more general saving time and systemizing, but not necessarily just about content. And then I was testing it that had more specific language for content, right? And actually it didn't work as well. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Why not? Or I can then find old content that I did before, and I could see, like I shared in my launch tracker video in this playlist, I showed actually I found 55 posts from a previous launch, and I was able to just tweak the caption, but everything else I could reuse. And so I want to reuse the stuff that I know has worked well. So rather than, being on your phone and having to scroll back through your profile and find the post that did well, you can't easily copy and paste your caption and everything from Instagram. If you've got everything living in this little place that and if you have a team, everyone can kind of come here and actually find what you need to, and then come up with that plan for what you're going to do next. So being able to kind of see, not only does having a system like this help you with the production and the creation of the content, but then it's like, what do you want to do with it? Because there's no point spending all this time and effort on creating content to attract, build your audience and, connect with them and build that influence and then turn them into clients if you're not going to actually do anything with it, if you're not actually going to review it and go, right, how are things performing? Why did that work? Or why did that not work? Let's try this again. Let's reuse that. That one was a killer. We had loads of comments on that one. Let's share it again. Or you can share it again and say, but just swap out the B-roll video, like really simple things. And all of it just helps make your marketing more intentional, right? It's more fact-based. And by having the entire system that I've talked about this whole week coming together, all working together with the different roles and the different parts of marketing, it just helps you create less, create faster, get more out of it, so it works more for you. So again, it all frees up your time and your headspace so you can focus on serving your clients, on doing some new growth projects, for skilling yourself. You want to do some personal development, or you just want to have some more time off and enjoy life. Enjoy time with your kids, or get out into the sunshine, or do whatever that you want to do. But making sure that you make it as easy as possible to input the metrics and see it is going to make your life much easier. So your best content really shouldn't just work once. Don't just post it and ghost it and leave it and don't use it again. And so this is really how you find it, reuse it, and keep it earning, keep it working more for you. So if you would love to have a full system like this built for you that's custom to your business, your workflow, how your brain works, how you like to see things, then check the link in the description where you can find out more about my done for you custom builds. There's also a link to my kind of foundational content system template with a workshop that goes with it that kind of walks you through how you can set up. You kind of have my baseline template and you can then customize it yourself if you're more of a DIYer. And make sure you subscribe, because there will be more videos and more templates and stuff coming later on. So make sure that you are in my world so you can find out about those. So tomorrow I'm going to be showing you the kind of my full podcast and YouTube production workflow and what's possible when you automate everything that happens after you basically hit stop recording. There's so much brilliance to it, and this was kind of one of the starting points of me really bringing AI and automation together, was when I was doing my regular YouTube series. So yeah, and it's evolved from then. Even just the last couple of weeks from kind of kickstarting my YouTube again, there's things that I've tweaked, so I'll be sharing all of that in the next video. So I will put a link to that here if I can, but otherwise check the playlist and you will find that there. So I'd love to hear from you. Like, how do you feel about metrics? Are you like, ugh, no, hate it? Or are you a data geek like me? Or are you kind of just someone who's like, you kind of know that you do, but you've never really kind of maybe been consistent with it? And how has sharing this system helped you to see actually how it can really help you in the long run? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, so do drop those below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.